Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into something absolutely fascinating. Imagine for a moment, it's the year 2026. Humanity is standing right between two giant mirrors. One is reflecting this astonishing technological possibility, and the other? Well, it's reflecting our oldest fears, our tribalism, and our spiritual exhaustion. The source material we're digging into today centers around an imaginary but super urgent philosophical gathering. We've got visionaries like Elon Musk, Ray Kurzweil, Buckminster Fuller, Marshall McLuhan, and Pierre Teilhard de Chardin all at the same table, moderated by the legendary Carl Sagan. I mean, can you even imagine getting a seat at that dinner? The core question they're tackling is whether our rapidly accelerating intelligence is going to outpace our deepest fears before it literally breaks us.
To get to the bottom of this, we'll be going through the 5 great interrogations of 2026. Number 1, AI, servant or master. Number 2, the planetary brain. 3, Mars versus spaceship Earth. 4, the medium thinks back. And finally, number 5, abundance and the soul. So let's jump in. First up, Section 1, AI, servant or master. The tool.
Carl Sagan, acting as our imaginary moderator, kicks things off with a pretty profound Socratic question. Are we building a telescope for the mind, or just a mirror reflecting our own confusion? As Sagan points out, a tool only becomes truly dangerous when we completely forget that it is, in fact, a tool. We're building these massive systems that could literally feed children and preserve forests, but, do we actually have the wisdom to guide them?
To answer that, we can look through two opposing lenses. On one hand, we have Ray Kurzweil's techno-optimism. He sees AI as a symbiotic expansion of human potential. To him, intelligence naturally just wants to expand, and we're going to merge with it to overcome our biological limits. But then, on the flip side, we have Pierre Teilhard de Chardin offering a very different philosophical warning. He says that yes, humanity is converging, but convergence without a moral center? That just accelerates disorder. He warns that AI really risks replacing human love and consciousness with mere efficiency.
And then enter Buckminster Fuller. He reminds us that AI absolutely shouldn't just be owned by corporations looking for a competitive advantage, or governments focused only on their own borders. He argues that our failure as a species isn't actually about physical scarcity, it's about poor design. AI, according to Fuller, has to be a planetary tool, one that's used to solve these massive distribution errors, and it needs to be guided by the needs of absolutely everyone.
Let's actually anchor that concept real quick, because it's super foundational for the rest of this explainer. Fuller's Spaceship Earth framework essentially demands that we stop acting like passive passengers. We are the crew of a totally integrated spacecraft. So if we want to survive, we've got to step up and take active responsibility for our planet's life support systems, rather than just thoughtlessly consuming them. Stepping back from the tool itself, we need to look at the infrastructure that binds all of us together. That brings us to Section 2. The planetary brain, the network.
To really wrap our heads around this network, we need de Chardin's idea of the noosphere. Picture this as a theoretical layer of shared planetary thought. He visualized humanity basically evolving and converging into a single unified sphere of spiritual consciousness. But here's the kicker. Is our current digital network actually achieving anything close to that?
I mean, from space, Earth doesn't have borders. Yet look at our devices, and humanity seems deeply fragmented. Sagan poses another huge question here. Are all these interconnected screens actually forging true communion, or are they just multiplying our tribalism? Are we witnessing the birth of a planetary brain, or just building a digital Tower of Babel, where everybody is speaking a completely different reality?
It's a tricky balance. We've got Elon Musk's engineering mindset, pointing out that, sure, the internet gave everybody a voice, but it also created this massive signal-to-noise problem that desperately needs truth-seeking systems. Then you have Marshall McLuhan's media theory perspective. McLuhan notes that a global village isn't inherently peaceful at all. A real village is full of friction and gossip. And meanwhile, Kurzweil looks at all of this and just sees early noise that will eventually filter out into beautifully integrated knowledge as minds and machines seamlessly merge.
Let's just take a quick second to absorb this really quiet, poetic synthesis from de Chardin. He says, "A shared mind without shared love becomes noise." It perfectly captures the reality that mere digital connection is just not the same thing as true human communion.
All right, let's zoom our view out even further, right into the cosmos. Section 3, Mars versus spaceship Earth, the domain.
Now we're faced with what might be the ultimate tension between ambition and responsibility. As Sagan frames it so beautifully, Mars is red, it's silent, it's distant, and it absolutely invites our ambition. But Earth is blue, wounded, and alive, and it demands our urgent care. So should we be fixing our home before we leap to an entirely different world?
This brings up two deeply valid, yet totally opposing perspectives. On one side, we have the expansion as survival thesis from Musk. The idea is that Mars is a necessary backup plan, simply because consciousness is rare in the universe and it's worth protecting at all costs. But then we have the expansion as escapism antithesis from Fuller. He argues that if we haven't learned basic design discipline right here, then fleeing a mismanaged Earth is really just exporting our failures to a brand new planet.
And de Chardin adds a crucial point to this debate. He argues that human expansion has to be spiritual just as much as it is technical. Because honestly, taking our pride, our fear, and our rivalries to a new planet, that isn't true progress. The human soul literally has to grow before the human footprint expands.
Moving right along, let's pivot back inward. Section 4. The medium thinks back. The interface.
Marshall McLuhan maps out this incredible timeline of communication for us. Think about it, going from the alphabet to the printing press to radio, television, and then the internet. What this history shows us is how every single new medium fundamentally altered human perception. And usually, society didn't even notice it was happening until way after the fact. But now we're entering an era where the medium, AI, can actually think back.
So, when a medium can imitate us and persuade us, is it still just a tool? Musk's engineering view stresses that AI is a powerful tool that absolutely requires strict safety alignments and totally transparent user control. But McLuhan's environmental view warns us that the medium has already become an active environment. It's not just a thing we pick up and use, it's something that quietly rewrites our everyday habits and desires, literally shaping what we believe, what we buy, and what we fear.
Just consider the absolute gravity of this thought for a second. If memory can be generated and personalized without any friction, then finding the truth becomes a serious moral discipline. When our machine starts speaking back to us, persuading us, and holding our personal histories, our very sense of self, our actual identity starts to shift.
And that leads us to our final stage, looking at the very core of human existence, Section 5, Abundance and the Soul, the meaning.
For almost all of human history, just surviving basically consumed our entire lives. So Sagan pushes the panel to consider this terrifyingly simple premise. What actually happens to our purpose if AI and robotics successfully conquer hunger, disease, and poverty? If our physical survival is totally secured by machines, what is life actually for? Does it free the soul, or just make it unnecessary?
Our panel has some fascinating answers to this. Kurzweil believes human creativity is just going to explode to new levels through AI partnerships. Fuller argues that getting freedom from obsolete jobs will finally allow us to focus on real stewardship and discovery. And Musk suggests that society will just have to forge entirely new goals, like exploring space, focusing on family, and building new physical projects. The big takeaway here? Comfort is great, but all our thinkers agree that a full table doesn't guarantee a full heart. We're still going to have to actively choose our meaning.
Sagan brings our macro and micro journeys perfectly together with this one thought. Intelligence alone is insufficient. It's a stark reminder that a civilization can be brilliantly, unbelievably clever with its technology and still manage to completely destroy itself if it lacks wisdom. Ultimately, the machine just reflects the soul of the civilization that builds it.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. If machines give us more time, more health, and more knowledge, what kind of civilization are we actually choosing to become? Perhaps the ultimate test of our century isn't whether we can build super-intelligent machines, but whether intelligence itself, human or artificial, can finally learn compassion. What do you think? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the minds of 2026. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next one.